I'm gonna keep it real with you. Me with the ball, nobody's guarding me. That was Jonathan Kuminga just a few weeks ago. Then he turned around and went on an absolutely ridiculous hot streak to back it up, scoring over 20 points a game, 8 games in a row on a ridiculous 69% true shooting, proving to everyone that nobody can stop him, especially in the open floor in transition. Is Jonathan Kuminga Giannis 2.0? He's a freak of nature, jumping out of the gym. What seemed like just potential has become a reality overnight. In a league that's no stranger to talent, one name is starting to echo louder in the halls of the NBA. Jonathan Kuminga, a force of nature in a Warriors jersey, whose rise is as rapid as it is unexpected. But what's the real story behind this athletic monster? Is it raw talent, relentless work ethic, or something more? Today, we peel back the layers of the freak of nature that is Jonathan Kuminga, from his humble beginnings to becoming the talk of the town, or should we say, the league's new nightmare. Kuminga is rising at the perfect time for the struggling Warriors team. He's breathing new life into their offense, more like he's the electric shock to the heart of a dying dynasty. Take a second, show some love, and subscribe. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Kuminga called out coach Steve Kerr publicly, frustrated about his lack of opportunity. After those bold comments to the media, he has completely backed it up with a run of 8 games scoring over 20 points per game. Kuminga bullied Coach Kerr to start him, and now he's bullying the league, mixing pure raw talent and athleticism with the leadership of superstars in Steph and Draymond, and boom, you've created an unstoppable monster. Jonathan Kuminga has taken the leap in year 3. Over his last 13 games, he's averaging 23.5 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game, and 2.5 assists per game on 58.7, 43.8, 76.9 splits, and a 65.3 true shooting percentage. It really feels like he's putting it all together, and he suddenly jumped to being the second best player on the Warriors right now. This couldn't have come at a better time for the struggling Warriors. They may have just uncovered their next star, sitting on the bench this whole time.
Here's the NBA. Young, athletic, hungry, play hard. He hit like that's what more motherfuckers need to play like him. Night in, night out. He getting to it.
Yep.
Like he ain't shy about any aspects of competing, his game, nothing. Throw that ball up.
Kuminga has been gifted with an incredibly strong set of athletic tools. He's 6'7", 225 pounds, with a 7-foot wingspan. For an older Warriors team that really lacks athleticism and explosiveness, Kuminga brings exactly that. His vertical leap? It's like gravity forgot to send him the memo. He's not just above the rim, he's breaking the laws of physics. He's an exceptional athlete, quick burst, and a ridiculous vertical. The difference in this last stretch is Kuminga has really been leaning into his physical dominance and athleticism he has over other players. Have you ever seen a player who makes dunking look so easy? It's like he's floating above the rim. It's like Kuminga has a SpaceX rocket strapped to his shoes. He's flying over everyone else. Green's return is also at the heart of unlocking this recent surge. His playmaking and defensive versatility at the center spot have opened up the floor and allowed Kerr to play Kuminga and Andrew Wiggins together. Wiggins has scored 20 points in consecutive games and double figures in 5 straight. Green is a plus 79 in his last 4 games. The Green-Kuminga-Wiggins trio is a plus 50 in 85 minutes since Green returned. Jonathan Kuminga is a rim pressure player, and he's finally starting to use his physical tools to take advantage of that part of the game. He's shooting 72% at the rim this season on 5.5 attempts per game, which ranks 5th in the NBA in terms of efficiency among players taking at least 5 rim attempts per game. That's a crazy stat for someone who is just 21 years old. He's very good as a finisher around the rim. He also has the highest percentage on and-one isolations by far this season. He is really learning to use his overpowering physicality to his advantage. He runs the floor in transition very well. He's got an explosive jump and absorbs contact really well. Kuminga makes even good defenders in the league look like traffic cones. Paired up with the best shooter of all time, Steph Curry, they have an opportunity to make an unstoppable duo. He is playing to his strengths now, which is his ability to attack the basket and use his physicality over defenders. Kuminga has gotten really good at putting pressure on the rim, something the Warriors haven't really had in recent years. Even against a more set defense, he finds a way to the rim with his overpowering athleticism. Kuminga's insane drives and dunks are like a walking highlight reel. He's really good at attacking open space like this. You'll often see him use his length and athleticism. He just goes through his defender with ease.
You want to know what I tell him? There's nobody in the world that can stop you. And then he believe it. And he go and show that there's no one in the world that can stop him.
He's found his confidence, and he knows nobody can stop him one-on-one. Even against some of the best rim protectors in the league, he is outplaying them with sheer strength, athleticism, and raw talent. When Kuminga gets the ball in the short roll with speed, nobody is stopping his momentum. So it's essentially a game of meet me at the rim. His flying leap, the body control, and finishing are all next level against elite defenders. Kuminga's three-point shooting is one area of his game that he could improve to take him to the next level. Earlier this season, he wasn't shooting it well beyond the arc, but recently, in this hot stretch, he's shooting well over 40% from three. Over the last 2 seasons, he's shooting almost 42% on 96 corner three-point attempts. If he can consistently knock it down from three, he's going to be very dangerous. The on-ball tools are clearly emerging, coupled with the raw explosive talent. The game has slowed down for him, and he's able to pick his spots easily. He's becoming an unstoppable driver if given any space, has a mid-range game, and can operate with his back to the basket. He still lacks the vision to be a true playmaker, but that will come with more reps. He's been only averaging around 44 touches and converting to around 25 points a game. That comes out to over half a point per touch, which is absolutely insane. Most of it comes from his ability to finish plays as an off-ball weapon. As a cutter, he's a huge lob threat, skying high above the rim for some absolutely ridiculous highlights. The Warriors haven't had someone this athletic in a while. He's a unique player, but actually a perfect player for their system. Perfect for their high-speed transition game, getting up the floor quickly. Kuminga gives them much-needed rim pressure, and he's a huge interior finisher when playing away from the ball. He's fast becoming the number 2 scoring option for the Warriors because the rest of the team have struggled to be consistent scorers this season. He can also be one of their best defenders. He certainly has the physical tools to be. He just needs the mind for it. He's switchable, can guard up and down, and take on the best player from the other team. He still has a lot to learn on that end. But next to Draymond, one of the best defenders of this era, he can learn from the best. Another area he can improve on is his playmaking. Now that he's attracting more attention from opposing defenses and drawing doubles, he needs to find the kick-out pass or cutter. When the game slows down for him to make those extra passes, he can really impact the game. Kuminga's not just improving individually. Wait until you hear about how he is saving this season for the Warriors. In the midst of a really disappointing season for the Warriors, they've had one bright spot emerge, with the incredible rise of Jonathan Kuminga. In a recent play where Kuminga lost the ball, things are looking very different for the Warriors these days, and that's all because of the rapid rise of Jonathan Kuminga. Draymond's recent absence with the suspension gave a chance for Kuminga to get extended minutes of play, which has been huge for his growth this year. The suspension now seems like a blessing in disguise, because Kuminga was allowed the time and space to blossom. Before, Steve Kerr was reluctant to give him many minutes. Kuminga called out Coach Steve Kerr publicly, frustrated about his lack of opportunity. After those bold comments to the media, he has completely backed it up, with a run of 8 games scoring over 20 points per game. The Warriors are getting a new look, an incredible burst of youth and athleticism injected into the aging dynasty. Not just a new look, but we're witnessing a conceptual adaptation for the Warriors. They're finally willing to try a new style in hopes to turn this season around. It wasn't really a choice. They needed a change. Steve has always been one of the best coaches at making adjustments, whether that's in series or regular season games. But this season he has struggled and been a bit reluctant to give Kuminga the space to grow. But Draymond's suspension may have forced his hand and is now paying great dividends for the team. Kuminga is making a huge leap right before our eyes. He's talented enough and hardworking enough to be one of the top players in the league. He's stubborn enough to keep pushing for this goal, and the Warriors need Kuminga to continue making a leap for any chance at a finals run this season. Kuminga has become the X factor for the Warriors this season. As Draymond said, The dynastic veterans carried along some older guys like Andre Iguodala and David Lee in the early days of this run. And now it's clearly time for Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody, and Trace Jackson Davis to help carry some of the main responsibility now. But to get to that point, in Kuminga's third NBA season, the Warriors coaching staff and veterans had to be willing to trust Kuminga.
Jonathan Kuminga has been the key to our success. Seeing how that young man has taken that next step and he threw himself into the number 2 option, and our offense is starting to be built around him. Andrew Wiggins is playing better, so it's going good.
With Draymond's suspension, they gave him guaranteed playing time, which has meant moving Kevon Looney, one of Kerr's favorite players, to the fringes of the rotation. That has locked in a deeper commitment to playing Kuminga with Andrew Wiggins, which was a disaster combo early this season, mostly when Draymond was suspended. But with Draymond back now and installed as the main center, the Kuminga-Wiggins pairing gives the Warriors their most dynamic lineup by far, which has led to more isolation sets for Kuminga, even sometimes stashing Curry in the corner while Kuminga goes to work trying to maneuver his way to the rim, or even having Curry set screens for him. The Warriors might not look like title contenders with this roster, but they're better set up for a playoff run if they're maximizing Kuminga. And by doing this, the whole situation will look even better next season. The Warriors continue to be better with Draymond on the court than they could ever be without him. In this very specific case, dropping Draymond in at center alongside Kuminga and Wiggins has given this team a new kind of identity. The trio of Green, Kuminga, and Wiggins together have had a 128.2 offensive rating and 98.4% defensive rating. Earlier this season, if Curry and Klay weren't lighting it up, the team was done, because it probably wasn't coming from anywhere else. But with Draymond willing Wiggins and Kuminga into the right spots and pushing them to be their best selves, suddenly the Warriors have some other options, especially some real transition options. Kuminga is their best open court player in years, and they're getting 2 or 3 buckets a game lately just by him running after opponents' missed shots, getting an outlet pass, and finishing through whoever dares try to stand between him and the basket. Maybe it took this long for Kuminga to understand how much he was needed and how he had to adjust his game to find ways he could help this team win. It took equally as long for Kerr to figure out how to adjust his own coaching style to match Kuminga's growth curve. Kuminga is worth it. He's only going to get better as the game slows down for him. He's only 21. If he can develop his shooting, playmaking, and defensive IQ more, he'll become a more complete player and has a chance to be a real star in the league. But how good can he become? What's his ultimate ceiling? He's already catapulted himself as the second option in Golden State. He's already effortlessly averaging over 20 points a game on efficient shooting. The swing factor will be his three-point shooting. At only 21 years old, Kuminga has plenty of time to improve on his shooting, as well as his playmaking. I can see similarities with Giannis, Kawhi, and Jaylen Brown. This is a huge bright spot for the Warriors' future, a real star to pass the torch to. By the time Steph retires, Kuminga can be a foundational piece for the Warriors to build around. Which NBA legend does Kuminga remind you of the most? He is the Warriors' swing factor this year, and I think his growth will determine how far they go in the playoffs. What do you guys think? Let me know down below, and thank you for supporting the channel and subscribing.